Christmas is supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, right? Twinkling lights, presents under the tree, and cozy nights with family. But for some, this festive season brings something far more sinister than a lump of coal in their stocking. Tonight, I'm going to share 2 true bone-chilling Christmas stories that will make you think twice about what might be lurking in the shadows of the holiday cheer. So, grab a cup of hot cocoa, pull your blanket up tight, and let's begin. Our first story comes from a woman named Clara, who was a college student working a late shift at a diner to save up money for gifts. It was Christmas Eve, and a blizzard was raging outside, so the diner was nearly empty. Just before closing, an old man shuffled in, his coat covered in snow. He didn't order anything. He just sat in a corner booth, staring out the window. Clara felt a little uneasy, but she figured he was just trying to stay warm. A few minutes later, the power flickered and went out, plunging the diner into darkness, except for the emergency lights. When the main lights came back on a moment later, the man was gone. Clara was spooked, but she locked up and started her long, snowy drive home. As she pulled into her driveway, her headlights illuminated a figure standing by her front door. It was the same old man from the diner. Her heart hammered in her chest. How did he get here so fast? He just stood there, unmoving, staring at her car. Terrified, she locked her doors and called the police. When they arrived, the man was gone. But in the snow, leading away from her door, were footprints. But they weren't human footprints. They were shaped like hooves. The police found nothing, and Clara never saw the man again. But every Christmas Eve, she can't shake the feeling that something was watching her from the storm. This next story is even more unsettling. It happened to a family, the Millers, back in the 1980s. They had just moved into an old Victorian house and were excited for their first Christmas there. The kids, a boy and a girl, were thrilled when they found an old, beautifully carved wooden rocking horse in the attic. They begged their parents to bring it down for Christmas. The parents agreed, cleaned it up, and placed it by the Christmas tree. On Christmas Eve, after the kids were asleep, the parents were wrapping last-minute gifts in the living room. Suddenly, they heard a soft, creaking sound. They looked up and saw the rocking horse moving back and forth on its own. They thought it was just the old floorboards settling, or maybe a draft. They stopped the horse and went back to wrapping. A few minutes later, the creaking started again, this time faster. The horse was rocking violently. They froze. Then, a faint childlike giggle echoed through the silent house. It didn't sound like either of their children. They ran upstairs to check on them, and both kids were sound asleep in their beds. When they came back downstairs, the living room was ice cold. The rocking horse was still, but sitting on its saddle was a single, old-fashioned candy cane, a kind they hadn't bought. They got rid of the horse the next day, but for years afterward, on Christmas Eve, they would sometimes hear the faint sound of creaking and a child-esque giggle from the empty corner where the horse once stood.